Huzzah!
Hello, adventurers! It is I, Sir Riddlot.
And I, Ginger of Red, coming at you from Red.
And we are reflecting on our adventure in Layers of Fear.
Indeed.
It was a fun and horrible and scary
Horrible.
game.
Terrifying.
Terrifying.
Yes.
It had its moments. It had a lot of its moments. Ginger, what did you think the game looked like? Was it good looking to you?
The game looked very good graphics-wise. It was very fine-tuned, very pretty, and stuck to its theme. Like, you could very well tell that this was a horror game.
Yeah, for sure. And one aesthetic aspect that I really liked was as you progressed through the game, whatever theme, you're right, it stuck to its themes. Whatever theme you encountered, be it the babies, the painting room would match that. And that would also transfer into the main menu. I really like that. I really like that. So whenever you went into the game, you knew what you were getting into, one way or another.
That soundtrack in the menu, like it's very
so
pretty.
eerie.
Yeah,
but so
it's
eerie and so ethereal.
It's a very beautiful tune, and yet it's just like there's something else there that you just can't quite shake off.
And there was a lot of the little things that the game did, like when you go to the main menu inside the game, that little guy who's in the corner.
On the menu side of things, it looks like there's a person there. All right, here.
Oh, jeez, you're right.
Like I see hands and like the figure. Anyway,
he's like, "Oh,
let me out of the menu."
You know, or just a lot of the little touches of like a baby staring down at you or staring at you in the darkness. Like that's stuff like that unnerves you, and it really helped that the game was graphically pretty. It really does. It just added to the realism, or maybe not the realism, but the immersion into Layers of Fear. So the next category to talk about on our reflection is gameplay.
Indeed.
So
and
go ahead.
Right, to begin, before we obviously shift towards you, who played the game, from how it looked to me, it looked like it was very, like you said before, it was very immersive. Like, it wasn't a mimic of Amnesia controls, but it was definitely something I would compare to Amnesia controls, where your hand would do what a hand would do. You would, instead of clicking a drawer and it would open, you had to grab the drawer and pull it. You had to grab a door and open it, or shut it, depending on what you wanted.
Yeah. There's many times where I wanted to shut the door. Many times.
Just kind of interrupted it. Never forget. Cool, figured that out. Cool. No.
Yeah, that's a really good point for immersion, because as you felt like a person, being able to interact with objects, before I go into that, there were many things you could interact with that didn't necessarily have any bearing to the game, like turning on a faucet or turning off a faucet. That has no bearing to the game. That's just a mechanic that's there that makes you feel like you're part of the environment, which adds to immersion. And for a horror game, in my opinion, immersion is necessary in order to be scared, to be afraid.
It's very key. I do have to bring up the one important question, and only you can answer it, being the one who played the game. Right. So, there at no point in the game were you actually chased, and even when there was one point where it seemed you died, you really didn't. Like, dying was very absent in the... it was absent in the game.
Altogether. You never once... When we both play... I was playing.
Yeah.
You were watching. No, I never once died. Not once did I die. And mechanically, that also was really important. Because you never felt the fear of death. Not once did you ever feel like you were, I ran at the monster. There was an episode where I ran at the monster, whatever being that was in my mind, ran straight at it like an idiot, and quote unquote died, but didn't. A second later, I wake up after being scared to high hell, and it never crossed my mind while playing, really. I never really thought about it, that death was not there. And I think that definitely added to immersion, or that definitely added to the scares. Even though,
Sorry, that's interesting, because for most horror games, some people would say that would take away, but for you it didn't?
It didn't, because the game made up for it. You see, that's the thing. The game made up for it, where other games would have you fear death. This one made up for it with other scares. Very psychological, very, very trippy stuff happened. That it was all the little things, I think, that made up the scares and layers of fear. That really did. Like, turning around a corner and seeing a painter, or opening a door. Looking back, one of the biggest scares that I had was opening a door in a hallway and finding a painting there, and then turning around and seeing a smaller version of that painting. That's all psychological.
Right.
Moving on to a category that our fellow Ginger of Red knows quite well. Story.
Oh, this is what I thrive in.
Lore!
Lore. Now, the story of Layers of Fear. So, to give a quick synopsis of the story, you are a famous artist who has recently lost his touch. Like before, you were so good that you were compared to that of Da Vinci and Caravaggio, and now you're made fun of for making such abominations as a Babyface, if you remember that from the game. And the game itself is you, this character, going through these fits of madness as he's trying to find that touch that he lost. He's actively creating a painting during these fits of madness, and depending on what you do will depend on whether he succeeds. The game does its lore beautifully.
I thought so too, especially for a horror game. With that being said,
each note had its own meaning. There was no useless note.
Yeah, those
all
also
notes
the
had a
photographs.
purpose. Yep.
There was also the photographs that gave you further background to the characters.
Every single one had a purpose, and every
Exactly.
item that you found would give dialogue, and it was very interesting.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna start with myself, since you are the one who played the game. We are going to give our ratings. So we had our own rating system created. 5 ratings, bottom being the worst, the best being at the top. Here they are in order from bottom to top. Madness Cometh, Turn Back, Riveting, Worth a Huzzah, and Answer the Call. Now, personally, I would rate the game... It is by no means perfect, but it's very well done, and I think, honestly, it answers it deserves an Answer the Call.
Excellent. I played quite a few horror games, and I enjoy horror games. So, in a market that's really saturated with a bunch of indie horror games out there, I think this definitely answered the call. I give it the top tier rating. It does answer the call. I really enjoyed this game. It definitely scared me, and everything about it just really clicked in place for me.
And
There's my rating.
And I know a lot of people arguments are yeah, but it's kind of like a haunted house simulator. It's but here's the thing. A game is supposed to have an objective. And as far as I can tell, I've seen what this game's objective is, and I think it achieved it with flying colors.
I think so too. I really did. It not only had a riveting, What grabbed a hold of me was it was scary, and I was interested the entire time. Be it the characters, my own character being as crazy as he was, and all the maddening things I saw just kept me wondering, what's going on? What is happening? Why are these things happening?
And I have to add, as a person who personally does not like horror games because I do so terribly with them, as y'all would have seen if y'all watch the videos, that I jump to everything. I can't help but react to things, and I hate that. I don't like the feeling of getting scared. And despite that, this game was interesting enough to like keep me going. Like, I still wanted to know what happened next. I wanted to know what the ending was. I wanted to know what dialogue would be in the next item. Like, it kept me going. And that is really good.
There you have it, adventurers. Our reflection on Layers of Fear. 'Tis indeed a good game. Answer the call. And come check out our Twitter account at Adventurers Call. We would love to talk with you guys and hear your thoughts on our very first review.
Indeed.
And with that being said, this is Sir Riddlot taking his leave and awaiting the next adventure.
And this has been the Ginger of Red saying thank you all for watching, and until the next adventure, always listen for that call. Bye-bye!
Is the bulb gonna burn out? Is that what's gonna... Oh, hello, rat. Hello. Hello. How are you?
Infestation!
I thought they said there were no rats here.
Pestilence!
There were no rats.
I make things very dead. Sometimes my gift can make the living not alive, the breathing stop breathing.